Good evening, everyone, and thank you all for joining us today. My name is Rashmita, and I am the event planner for Microsoft Reactor India. This session will run over the next 60 minutes, including Q&A. But before we begin, please take a moment to read our code of conduct. We are all here to learn together, so please be respectful of other people's views, understanding of differences, being kind and considerate in the way you engage. The chat section will be open throughout, and we do encourage you all to participate. So please feel free to drop all your questions in the chat section. I would now like to welcome Swami, our speaker for today's session. He is an aspiring software architect and currently works at Applied Information Sciences. He loves to learn about new technologies, but for now, I will hand over to Swami to begin the session. Let me bring him in. Hey Swami, how are you? Good evening.
Hey Rashmita, good evening. I'm doing good and pretty much excited because today's session is
Awesome.
double action packed. So I'm all excited, waiting for this.
Awesome. So
Let's hit the
then
road.
it's the stage is all yours. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Could you please flash my screen? Uh, okay. Thanks. Uh, the layout. Yeah, thank you so much. Hey guys, thanks so much for joining. And today I think we have double action packed. Uh, okay, so let me quickly take you to the official syllabus. And from this official syllabus, what is that we have completed and what is that we will be doing. So if you see that prepare to develop, we have completed that. Create and consume, we have completed. That was in first session. And second session, we started with these two, but we reached only half of that. Not even half, few, some portion. I don't want to give the number, but we reached to some portion, but we didn't complete. And the third session was full on containers. We saw how to do the AI services on the local container as well as Azure Container Registry. There we kept Azure Kubernetes containers as pending. We'll come back to that little later. So those are the three sessions, and this is the fourth session we are coming back here. Now, what is that we are going to do today? A lot of things. I'll quickly walk you through this. What is that we are going to do? So this first session we already did a couple of times where we created the resources. So now I pre-created it. We have tested the Postman script also. We'll see that. And now we'll start our life from here, manage authentication, and then we'll speak about the security perspective. We'll speak about the security perspective, and then the service principle is there, and then we'll test how can we use the service principle in the Python, because C sharp or Python the code is same, but excluding the same code whatever we have used in the previous session, we are going to touch a lot of things, serious things, and not only a lot of things, we're going to touch the serious things, and also we'll come and look at the monitoring our AI services from the cost perspective. What can we do from the alerts perspective? What can we do? Like if at all some of the things which we don't want, or we want to be notified if someone is viewing the keys or any of those events occurring, we want to get notified, so that we will look at it. And how can we get emails triggered if such events where we want to notify a particular group, that maybe the administrator or the project manager or the stakeholders, look from the security perspective. Oh, someone is looking at the keys. Okay, who is that? Like here it gives that who is here, it gives this information like someone has looked into the keys. So we know that only few people will have the permission, or at least we want to get into that and see that who did it and why he was looking at the keys. and then we will see from the metrics perspective, and then we'll do a dive into the diagnostics logs. So tons and tons of action is there in today's episode. So let's start hitting the road. And my favorite slide uh, is that these two slides. So I think this I will give it to Rashmita. She will forward that. This is the uh, repo where I'll keep all my code and all the speaker series. If you see date wise, and today we are doing this one, Microsoft Reactor AI 104, and sorry, AI 102. Sorry for that. And here the learn modules are there, and I'm still a learner, so apologize if I do any mistake. And my favorite slide, please fasten your seatbelt. So this one, Rashmita will share a little later. Now let's start looking at. So where did we? Yeah, the manage AI security. So before that, let's quickly come back here to our Azure resource group. So we'll see that what all the resources we have. So multi-service account, we have Azure AI service, and we have a alert rule, which we'll come back and look at it. And we have the action group, which sends an email. We have Azure Key Vault, and we do have log analytics, and we do have a storage account. So we have a lot of things to cover today. So the first thing is, let me come back to this one, because this is all I just pre-created because we already did this 3 times. So doing it for the 4th time, it's like a law of diminishing marginal utility. We'll lose interest in AI services. So this is what we have it, and we know that we will have the keys here, and we can do one way. We can come here, or anyone who has got access, they can execute the Azure AZ cognitive services account key list, the resource group name, the service name, multi-service account name, and the resource group name it gives us. So if you see the postman, and the endpoint is this one. So if you see the postman, I have created the collection, and inside the collection you see the endpoint and the subscription 52366. So let's come back here and see that 52366. So it's same one. Let's just for the namesake, we'll hit this once we'll see it comes. And if I want to add one more, we can add. We did that lot of things, but today let's do rest of the things. I don't want to spend time over here. We'll come back and we'll try little things later, but today purely focus on rest of the things. That's the deep dive is very, very important. So from that perspective, so today's session we are starting in the manage Azure AI services security. So this is the exercise which we'll be doing, but let's come and look at it. What is that we will be doing here as part of the considering 2 things. One is the authentication, and one is the network security. Okay, so the network security, when it's pretty similar to the network security is the pretty similar to I can compare this with the SQL Server things also. So there also we disable the public access and we'll give selected. Like right now it is all networks are selected, or I can select any of the particular network. Suppose if I select only selected networks, it could be a virtual network. I can create a virtual network, and all the virtual machines and the resources inside that particular virtual network will be able to access it. Or I can punch the hole in the firewall to whitelist any of those public IPs which I want to give it. So, and also if I have the private endpoint connections, we can use it. And these are the things. So I'll just keep it there. We'll come back and we'll revisit that. And now the key thing is majorly two things. One is the security consideration, the authentication consideration. One is the network consideration. First, let's look at this network. Let's go over this. Okay. So what happened is, it's the same thing. If we can come here and select any of the networks, or we can punch the hole in the firewall. So punching the hole in the firewall, just keep it very minimal, only to investigate something, but never ever do that. That means we are leaving a security hole, someone can capitalize it. And the virtual networks is, we know that it belongs to the company, so we can allow the traffic to come from that particular virtual network. So that's about the networking perspective. Now coming back to the authentication perspective. So authentication perspective, if you see that here everything is working, all is well. So what is that I'm using right now? If you come and see that here, I'm using 52366. Let's validate that. That is, I'm using 52366. So I'm using that key. So now what happens is, what if that key is compromised? Let me come back to the keys, and I'll just enable that. Right now I'm enabling it. So what if my 52366 key has been compromised? So in that case, what we can do is, we can come back here. This piece we already discussed about the secret JSON, app settings, and environment variables, and setting it at the environment level on the box. A lot of security things which we have already discussed. And now if you see that here are the keys, we can execute this particular command over there. Let me come back over here, and let me do clean and execute it. Okay, we have that. And now assume that I the key one has been compromised. I mean, we'll change it to key two. Like, let's assume that the key two has been compromised. So what we can do is, we can regenerate the key two. Now regenerated the key two. Now it generated C7. So now if I can go back and list those keys, now it's not displaying 52366 as key two. Key two is the new one. So now if I come back to the postman and I try it should fail. Maybe it takes some time to fail that. Let me regenerate the key one also. It definitely takes some time to get it. Maybe it is cached or something, but things should not work. Maybe it takes little time. Maybe. Okay, let's try give that a shot now. Okay, so let me remove or add something and try. Okay, I think now I think, let me clear this all. All logs are cleared. So let me come back to this one and remove that extra S character which I've added. And okay, it's still working, but it should maybe I have to clear the cache somewhere here. That's a different story. We'll keep it there. But now, if I come back and grab this key, let me copy that and go back and paste it here. Now the initial value also I'm modifying to this one. So now right now we have the fresh set of keys. Now it's working. Now the thing is that we know a little bit of treatment, like the damage has already happened. Now we are doing the damage control. assume that there are 5 to 6 applications which were using the key 2. Now that we regenerated, we need to send out an email or call the project lead or someone on the project and ask them to, there was a compromised key and we refreshed it and this is the latest key. Now all those applications has to go and change. So to avoid that, what is that, another mechanism is regenerated. We have seen that when it is compromised, we can do that. Now to avoid all these things, what is that we are doing is we are creating a key vault. So when we create a key vault and store the key in a centralized location, and the access to the resource group where this key vault is there will be minimal, and also generally will be done through the service principal or the managed identity. So what happen is, as a person, you will never have access. So that's like a black box. You don't even know what is the value inside the key. All you know is there is a service principal which can go and read the value from the key vault. You don't have access. So anytime such kind of compromise has happened, so there is one location where people can go regenerate the key and update the key vault. So in that case, what happens is rest of the 5 6 application or 5 6 solution teams or project teams or whatever we call it, they're using is they don't need to change their code, or they don't need to change their application configuration. Nothing has to be done. Everything all is well. Once you regenerate the key and update the Azure key vault, it's like 100% of the world peace. You don't need to worry about anything. So that's what here we are showing in this pictorial representation. So this is a cognitive services. So what happens is the keys of the keys of this cognitive services will be stored in the key vault. So now what happens is the service principal is a guy who goes and gets the key vault, keys from the key vault, and then sends it to the cognitive services as part of the authentication. Okay, so there are different kinds of authentication, like we can use the REST, which requires a token based, which we have seen, and Microsoft Entra ID authentication. I didn't use that. I myself didn't use it. All we did is this one. I mean, I use this one, service principal. We'll see this service principal in depth now. Okay, so that's the thing, and let's go through one more of this theoretical thing, and then we'll jump in. So network we have seen. This is the exercise. So let's come to the real exercise, whatever we are going to do it as part of this today's session. So we know that where the code exists, the Microsoft official lab, and the subscription which you already created, the resource, and manage the identity keys. We have seen how can we retrieve the keys, and if the keys are and we use the postman instead of the curl, and if at all the keys are compromised, we saw that how can we go and regenerate. And also we have seen that verbally we discussed that what all the pain points which we need to go through if at all the keys are compromised. We should have, I mean, people might have the sleepless nights if the key has been compromised and someone from the ops team, they are regenerating and they have to wake up the application team around 2 a.m. or 3 a.m., whatever the time of the day, they have to wake them up and make the change. So just to avoid, what we are doing is we are keeping the keys safe in the vault, and rest of the world will not have access to the key vault. Only the service principals or the managed identity will have the access to the keys. So you will see that the access to the key vault is mostly through the service principals or through the managed identity. Individual as a tech lead or managers, mostly they don't allow others to get into that space where the keys are stored. Okay, so the first thing what we have to do is we need to create a Azure key vault. So let's come back and see the key vault here, which I already created a couple of days ago. But let's go and walk through that. I mean, once we complete the entire exercise, if time permits, we'll come back and we'll do it. So while creating the key vault, we spoke about two things in the previous episode, but I would like to highlight that in this episode also, that please enable the soft delete and purge protection. So soft delete is anytime you delete, that entry will not be vanished. Okay, that entry will go and sit in a location for the specified period. So even after you deleting it, let's come and see that here. Let's assume that we call this as a delete me. Okay, some gibberish I'm giving there, and I've saved it. Now I'm coming here, I've selected that key and I said the delete, and it told us that there is this is what is happening, and we'll come back here. See, this purge protection is enabled for all items within this key. So what happens is, the you can see this entry delete me. We have deleted on April 10th, so till July 9th this will sit in this location, so no one will be able to purge it. That means completely make it vanish, that it doesn't exist at all. So you can't do it because of the purge protection is already enabled. So it will stay in this location for the specified period, for 90 days or 60 days or 70 days, whatever which is agreed within the team, you can do it. So for those number of days, nothing can happen. Only thing is we can recover. So soft delete and purge protection, these are the very key things when you're doing the key vault. Now, if you see AI services key, this is the key which we have created, and you can see if I click on that, show secret value. So you can see that this is the one which it is showing 5266. This is the previous value. So it is showing the previous value. But what is the new value? New value is this one, C7. So now we need to store this. I'll come here, copy. I'm copying it. Again, going back here, and I'll go back to this particular key and I'll create a new version. So this is the latest secret and I created it. So now this is the older version. Now this is the latest version. We can come and validate it again. Show secret value, the C7DF. So that is the one which is available in this. So periodically we'll come and we'll flip between this one. So from the access policies perspective, if you see that, we'll come back to this key vault. From the access policies perspective, you can see that my name here, and click on this edit. I have given permission to all, including purge. So if at all the purge protection is not available, I should be able to delete the values also. So this is very important. We need to give the respective permissions for us to work manually. We'll come back to this. I'll park it. We'll come back and we'll learn. So from the key vault perspective, we have the motivation why we should store the secrets in key vault. And we spoke about the soft delete purge protection, access policies, and also we spoke about the soft delete, and we saw visually how the purge protection will help us from sleepless nights. Even though someone deleted wantedly and unknowingly, still it gets stored in the temp location where we can go and recover it. And we saw that the multiple versions of the key can exist, and this is the latest version. And we saw that old version has got the previous value 52366, and the latest entry has got the key which we have shown it. Okay, so right now that is the deal. So let's come back to this one. So all the way we are here. So now there is something known as service principle. So we have to create a service principle. So when you execute a service principle, so if you come in and execute the service principle, it will create a service principle, and it will have four values: app ID, display name, password, and the tenant ID. In this, app ID is very, very important. Okay, in this, app ID is very, very important, and where that is stored, I'll show you in a minute. So let's go back to Microsoft Entra ID. Now, if you go to this Microsoft Entra ID, and inside this Microsoft Entra, we will have the app registrations. So if you click on that app registrations, whatever I have executed the command couple of days ago, that command you can see in here. This one we have seen. This one also we have seen. So here you can see this. I have executed the AZADSP create, and the subscription, when I execute it, what it does is it gives us app ID, display name, password, and tenant. As I've given the demo, some sample, but you can see that app ID, display name, password, and tenant ID. So this is where, see, this is the app ID. So you can see that here, if I get in, I should be able to. Oh, this is a demo one. I'm sorry. See, this is a demo one. This is the original which I kept it. So this is the app ID 92. So here you can again do a deep dive. This itself is a big ocean. So I'm just wanted to give you guys extra information. What is that which is really happening under the hoods? Whatever we are executing in this command, we created this service principle, and we've stored it, and we are continuing. But what is happening when you executed this command? What happens? This is what it happens. If you come in here under the Entra ID, under the app registrations, you will be able to see this one. And if you see that all the deleted one, I will show this. This is the demo. You see that C2A93, that is this one, C2A93. So I just did a demo for the screen prints and I deleted it. But now we understand that when you execute that command, it will create a application under the app registrations, right? So that's the one. This is the command, but we are digging deep to find out what is happening under the hoods. So we store these things. And after storing those things, AZAD show ID, I have to give the app ID. I need to execute this command to get the object. So object, in the sense, the object ID of this is very important. So why it is important? To give the permission on to the Azure Key Vault, so that it's not a human interaction, it's a code will interact. It takes this service principal details, give it to the Key Vault, and we already provisioned the permission to this particular service principal on the Key Vault or any other resources. So it believes this guy and gives this whatever it needs. I'll show you. We'll come back to that one. Let's dig little deeper. So now what we should do is, when you execute this command, it gives you a bunch of items. Out of this, there is something known as ID, which is over here, is very important. So what we will do is, let's come back and copy this all the way till here. Okay, I can copy. And I'm coming here. Let's go to the shell. Let me clear that, and I'll paste it. Wow. I don't know why it is pretty slow. So this is the app ID. I'll take this app ID and come back and paste it. There you go. Boom. We sent the app ID, and if we come back, the ID which it generated is this one. So this is very important. So when you take the object of that, I'm sorry, when you take the app ID of the service principal, this one, and give to the command AZAD service principal show, and then it shows the service principal. Out of that, the ID of the service principal is very, very important. So that is what we have able to capture. So now next thing what we will be doing is we got the object ID, or the let me call an employee ID of the SP to be a little bit easier. Now, how do we create the permission? So what permissions do you need it? Do you need the code to go and add new keys or delete keys or purge it? Or so you have to think what is that. This is like a keys of the kingdom, so we can't give unlimited talk time offer to this. So we need to be very careful what is that which is needed. So at least uh, with this service principal should be able to go and list the keys, also get the keys. So at least that is the base minimum which has to be done. You can do it in multiple ways. I'm showing two ways. So one of the ways you can execute this command. Now we know the key vault name and we know the object ID. This is the object ID over here. We'll pass this object ID. Then we are saying secret permission, get and list. We can do that way. What is the other way? The other way is, I just wanted to see what is happening under the hoods. So other way what we can do is we can come back to this access policy, and we can click on create, and inside this what permissions you want we'll select it. But this is what is very, very important. Please select the permission. Come on. Give me a break. Let me select all. Anyways, we're not going to do anything with that. So now if we come back here, so this is the object ID which we got it. So if I copy this object ID, and oh Jesus, let me copy this, copied it, and come back here, and I paste it. The moment I paste the ID, see that it is automatically recognizing the service principal what we have created. So you see this API colon for Azure AI services. There's a spelling mistake. I'm sorry for that, but it will recognize. Now we know that why that object ID is very important. When you execute this command to show the ID and give the application ID, it gives you an object ID. It's like an employee ID or a student ID. So that will be given to the key vault saying that, hey, when someone comes with this ID, give him these permissions. What all those permissions are? These are the permissions. Okay. So now what I'm doing is I'm not doing anything, but now you understand what is happening under the hoods. Even though you execute this simple command, it looks pretty simple, but what is happening under the hoods? Under the hoods is it is giving the set of permissions, get and list, on the application registration, which is there inside the Entra, the application registration. It is giving set of permissions to the keyword. That is what it is happening under the hoods, right? So we did a deep dive to understand what is that. Now we have to use the service principal inside the application. So this is a easy part. It's not that tough. We'll come back there in a minute. GitHub, AIML, and AI 102, and this is one. Okay, so right, I'm coming in here. Open this. So now, what is that we will be doing here? So, if you see, there are four things. There are few things which we needed from this one. Okay, so we need the credentials for the service principal which we have created, because at the top, if you see that from this list, he asked us to copy the app ID, password, and the tenant ID. Okay, and the credentials, the key vault name is also needed. The code is the same code. If you see the source code of the, this is the REST client, isn't it? Let's see. If you see the SDK client, if you see the SDK client, what is that we are needing in that SDK client, which we did it in the first and second episodes? It is the service endpoint and service key. And now, if you see the key vault, so we are using the service endpoint that anyway we need it, and the key vault, and the key vault is from where we should get the keys, and the tenant id is the app tenant id. So where do we get the app tenant id? If we come back here, and if you get into this, I mean, I'm showing under the hoods, but anyways, we would have been stored it somewhere there. So the, this is the tenant id, and app id, we know that that is this one, and the password, it will split it, we'll store it. So but I'm showing the under the hoods, not the external commands what we are executing, where it stores, how it stores. So these are the three things which it brings it. Okay, and rest of the code, if you see, what is this? This is the, this is for the key vault, and yeah, this is the one, SDK's code, I think. Yes, that's an SDK code. Let me, come on, I think I can place it. Now if you see, what is very important is this, these three lines, line number 40 to 49. So it's the same, we are using the SDK. So okay, so we are using the SDK. Where it is differing, so if you see that the, here line number 29, from here till here, it is doing the same job, there is no difference there. And here it uses only the endpoint and the service key. But the disadvantages or the problems which will arise with the keys, we have seen that if it gets compromised, everybody, all the teams which are using this particular key will have a sleepless nights, and we need to run from pillar to post to make it secure. And other option, we saw that storing it in the key vault will at least 50% of the world piece, and that we have seen it. Now here comes the key piece now. So what is happening is we are having the service endpoint, and we are seeing the key vault. On the key vault, we have already given the permission. Now, to whom we have given permission? To a service principal. So we are giving the tenant ID of the service principal, app ID, and the password. So this is what is very important. Now we'll execute this in a minute. So before executing that, we already have a virtual environment. So let me go in here. Virtual environment indicator terminal. Okay, successfully activated. Okay, so let me clear this, and .v scripts activate, and if I give Python and key vault, if I type it here, see it is coming. I'm saying mercy, and it gives me, that's French. So let's do Kale Vanakam. This guy. I'm copying it. I'm saying Kale Vanakam, and it says it's Tamil and hola, Spanish, and quit. We saw that. Now, the other way to do it is we can come back over here and Control Shift P and select the interpreter, and it is showing the recommended is from this one. I will select it. Once I select, you can see that the interpreter is showing it here. So now what I can do is I can come back and select this, run and debug. I'll place it here and Python debugger, and I want to execute the current file, and that executes. You can see that all the values it is showing there. And now if I do an F10, you can see the key vault URI it generated. See, it's generating our key vault URI, and now secret credentials has been passed, and now get secret. This one AI services key. That's the key which we will be seeing here in the key vault. If we go to the secrets, we are seeing that AI services key. So we are asking, we sent the service principal details and we are asking to get the key. So now it makes the call and you see that it has retrieved the key. See C7D1D, that's the latest one. So that way we can debug. Now we did a deep dive and we have tested in couple of ways. We can execute it directly on the terminal, or we can do a deep dive, get line by line and see what is happening into that. Okay, so that's about one unit. That unit is this one. Just now we were able to complete that unit. So secure AI services, majorly two things. One is from the network perspective, and one is from the authentication perspective. So authentication perspective, storing the keys in the key vault, giving access through the service principal is the best suggested method. So just to have extra space, I am closing that chapter. Let's come back to the second unit. Now, if you see that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, we have completed 5 units from the official syllabus. So this one, it will take less than 15 minutes or max of 20 minutes, but let's do that. So what is there in this unit? So this one is monitoring, like monitoring the cost and alerts. We can monitor the metrics and also see the diagnostics. So let's see from the cost perspective. If you see from the cost perspective, it is very important for us to maintain, because the cost analysis tab, we can go and look at that, select the subscription, or sometimes there will be more number of hits, sometimes less number of hits. But before getting into usage of those resources, we can use the pricing calculator to get a ballpark estimate. Oh, okay, if I use it for 50 hours a month, I will be charged like this, or 10,000 calls, or based on that we can do that. Or to view the cost for the usage, it is better to get into the cost analysis tab, narrow down to the resource group, and inside that resource group it gives us a nice visual pie chart representation, and still we can go deep into the weeds to find out what resource has consumed how much. Okay, that's about the cost perspective. Now this is the action part. Now create the alerts. Now why do you need alerts here? So I think I will close this so that we'll have less number of tabs to deal with. So here we have seen that the keys are very important. Now let's assume that we have created the keys of this and stored it in the key vault, and we have given the service principal. Now rest of all the solution teams, whoever wants to communicate with this Azure services, they will use the service principal details to talk to the key vault, retrieve the key, pass it to the respective service. So they don't need to come directly to the Azure service to get the keys. Imagine a scenario, someone is executing this particular command. Someone is executing this command to show the keys. That means, why do someone need it? I mean, there might be one good reason to do it. I'm not denying that none should do it, but there should be a good reason. And equally, there should be a good reason to notify this to respective team, because everything is in place and we decided that you should use service principals and the key vault to get the keys, and you'll not be able to access. That's against the rules. You don't need to do it. Now someone is doing it. So why? We should get notified. So that's what we are doing it here. So we need to create a alerts. So how do you create alerts is within the Azure AI services. Here in this Azure AI services, if you come back to the monitoring section, you can see that I just created this alert and see 521. That's where we did it. Now I think we can refresh. It should give us the latest hits also wherever we are trying to do it. Now what we can do is we can create the alert rule. You can click on this alert rule, and from this see all signals. And before that, we need to ensure that in the scope, it is the service for which we want it. And let's come to this condition, see all signals. And here there are multiple signals out there, whether if it is a block call or errors. It depends upon the use case or when you want to get notified, whether someone is storing a face, or you want to know, isn't it, who is storing what phase, or could be anything, the rate limit or something. So here in the activity log, we have the list case. What if delete API account, someone regenerated the key? Definitely, this is a big ticket item. Team has to be notified. I mean, even if we think that list keys is it's not a low hanging fruit for sure, even if it is mid hanging fruit or something else, but regenerating key is a big ticket item. It has to be notified. So you want to get notified, we can do is create this, generate the key, apply. So it creates this one. Then we go to the actions, and here I already created an action. Action is what we can create a new one. What we can do is create a new action group, and this one is AG action group. Uh, keys keys regenerate. This one, let's put the same one, just to avoid. Okay, regen and notification. What should happen? So send an email. Okay, send email to whom? To me. Oh, not to me. I mean, whoever is stakeholders. Okay. So anytime someone regenerates, it has to send. The email is configured. So we don't need this tag, nothing. I'm just creating this one. This is a new alert. The alert has been configured. The details, and I'm calling it as keys review and create. Now we click on create. Okay, so that alert rule has been created. So I'll come back. Let's do two things. Let's list this, and somewhere we, this one, we'll recreate that and recreate this. I'm listing. So we'll do it 2-3 times. By the time we'll spend 10 minutes on other topics, this will come and regenerate. So now it will break the existing code, whatever it was working. Now it will not work because we have broken the keys now. So this is from the alerts perspective. So now I can come back over here. It takes 10 to 15 minutes. We'll wait. Now it shows only the previous alerts. We'll come back and see. We'll come back and see for that. Okay. Now we saw that how to create alerts and what condition, and also the alert rules and the action group also we have seen that. And another thing what we can do is we can view metrics. So where do we view the metrics? Metrics are here. We can come back to this metrics, and it's not a big deal here. Like if you see the latency, it shows the latency. Actually, I've broken this now. I can't test with the postman also, but I just explain you. When we are doing this, we need to be very careful. We are not mixing two unequal items and want to see it on the screen. Like if you see that, I want to see the total calls. I want to see the total calls. So these are the total calls. It makes sense. Now, if I want to add add a new thing into this one, add a new metric. So it should be pretty much related to this one. Suppose if I mix the latency with this number of calls, assume that latency is somewhere in thousands, or hundreds. Latency is in 100 milliseconds or whatever it is, and the number of calls are 10 and 20. It looks pretty odd and uneven. I mean, if it is making sense, it is making sense. But what I particularly, I mean, personally, it is my feeling that having two things which are very near or matching to each other will give you a visual representation what is happening, those kind of things. So this is from the metrics perspective, and we can come back to this alerts. And this is 7:50. That means 1 minute prior to this. So that means I should get an email also. Let's see that. Did I get an email now? Yeah, see this 7:51. So there was key list alert, and this one also key list. Okay, that is just now we did that, and I think it will trigger the modification shortly because it takes time. It's all key list alert. We are not seeing the other one region. It will come, no problem. We'll go and discuss the final topic for today is the metrics we have seen, and diagnostic logging. So for diagnostic logging, we see that we'll be able to store it in a log analytics or the Azure storage. So we can see that in a minute here, and then we'll come back and see this. We have completed this. We have seen this. We have seen the alerts, and we saw the email also, and we saw that metrics. We spoke about the metrics, and this is the diagnostic logs. Now, for the diagnostic logs, we have to create the log analytics workspace. Let's come back to this log analytics workspace. And if you see this diagnostic settings perspective, if you see it over here, you can, I'm editing the settings. We can add it, pump it to different way. The categories I'm sending, audit, all logs and metrics I'm sending it. And this is the log analytics workspace, which is this one. I'm routing it to that. And the storage accounts also, you can see that you can select it didn't show this, so I routed it to the different one because I exclusively created this storage account, and I was running short of time. Then I hooked it up to the other storage, but technically this one storage AI 102 dev 002. I just created very specifically for this. Unfortunately, I was running short of time, so I just hooked it up to the other one. But let's look into this log analytics thing. So we did that. Let me come back over here, and this is there. And let me go to this log analytics. Let me come to this logs, and I will close this, and I'll come back to this Azure diagnostics. Let's get some extra space, and you can see that what is the category. You can see that whether the category is request or whether it is an audit. You see whether it is a request response or audit, and if you see that regenerate key, list key, or whether it is text analysis or detect language, you can find out here all the things which we are doing. So most probably in this case, it would have generated the alerts also. Let's try our luck again. Did it fail? I don't know, but we are seeing that, isn't it, in the log? Yeah, right. There you go. Region. So that means technically I should get an email also. Or maybe it just triggered now. It just triggered now. 56. There you go. The bunch of emails. It's flushing out now. See this, all the regions, key region, and the list keys. Now see this. This is very important, isn't it? When we have everything in place, someone going and trying to view the keys, or someone is trying to regenerate the keys, that is not expected behavior, isn't it? So definitely we need to get notified. And also we can see that when we execute it, we will get this. And also now it becomes the very easy for us to go and track it. Like suppose if I want to uh, where operation name contains this one. Now, specifically, I want to track instead of contain. I think it is asking us to do has. I think so. Yeah. Now see this. Now I can customize the queries and I can find it out, like who's doing what actions, and then onwards I can take it action. Now you see this. Everything is pretty clear and evident, and this is the security perspective. We discussed a lot of things. So just as a quick recap, so we completed the 5 units from official syllabus. First, let me come and delete this. Let me come and we completed the 5 sessions or units or chapters, whatever we call it. We did that from the official syllabus. And what did we do? We learned how to create the resource multi account or a single account. We spoke about the differences, and then how to interact with C sharp or with Python libraries. And then we spent how can we do with the containerization. We saw that using the containers, and then we were able to deploy inside Azure container instance and interact with that. And today's session was purely from the security and monitoring perspective. We saw what if the key is compromised, how can we get it fixed, and then having moving all these keys to a centralized location in the key vault will help us. We did that, and created the service principle, and we went deep into the weeds to find out where in Entra you will see those applications, whatever we created, and we saw that what is the importance of application ID, what is importance of the object ID, and how we gave the access permission, access policies on the key vault, so that using someone using this service principal details, the key vault or other resources will believe give these keys. And we saw that we can protect from the networking perspective, punch the hole in the firewall to whitelist any of the IP or give a specific network to resources. And we tried the Python sample. We did couple of ways. We activated the virtual environment, and we tried with this, and we went deep into the weeds, enabling the debugging, and we verified it. And also we came and we saw the monitoring cost perspective. We spoke about it, and then we discussed about alerts, how to create alerts and action groups and send email. And we spoke about metrics, and we saw that visually we pumped in some of the traffic and made the alerts trigger, and we saw that the how we got the alerts, and then next thing we spoke about the log analytics, and then everything was coming into the logs, and we were able to filter the logs and do a lot of things. So, and that's about this episode. And next session we will be doing analyze images and classify images. So these two things will be in the next episode. Next to next is detect analysis. So there are a lot of things, but our intention is to learn the knowledge. Okay, learn the topic, learn the knowledge. Let's do it hands on. Okay, I am not worried whether we are getting certified or not, but the knowledge is very, very important. So let's focus on the knowledge. And that's it from my side. Back to Rashmita. I have to give you the link.
Yes, yes, Swami. Just share the
Yeah,
link so that I
Rashmita.
can share it with the audience.
Yeah, that and
And
this.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
think, yeah. s- Okay.
So I think
The
next episode
first,
will be,
I think the GitHub
yeah, two
rep.
links.
Yes,
I mean,
Swami
next.
shared
Yeah,
already.
thank
Folks,
you
the
so
two
much.
links have already been shared in the chat section.
And
Go ahead, Swami.
next
You were saying
episode,
something.
yeah, next episode again, it will be fully action packed. Analyze images and classify images. I mean, I see this entire AI 102 section. The course material itself is super action packed. So you're seeing me. I'm fully energized and enthusiastically waiting for the session days to discuss. So thanks. Back to you, Rashmita.
Thank you, Swami. Thank you so much for hosting this session, and thank you all for joining us today. Please visit Microsoft Reactor website for more upcoming sessions, and feel free to use the Learn module link. This will give you access to additional resources to take your learning further. Thank you all once again, and enjoy the rest of your day.